I was curious, even skeptical about Matt Patricia replacing Jim Knowles as the defensive coordinator at Ohio State. Not only is this relationship working in Columbus, it's next level stuff. It's gotten better, and the rest of college football better pay attention. We'll talk about the elite defense of the Buckeyes. Locked On Big Ten starts right now.
You are Locked On Big Ten, your daily podcast on the Big Ten Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Big Ten. I'm Craig Sheeman, 40 years as a sports talk show host and play-by-play announcer. I want to thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Hey, hit that free subscribe button down below. That way you'll never miss a single episode. We'll be in the Big Ten Club together. And if you could share, like, and follow, that helps us too. And did you know you can hype YouTube videos? That'd be a big help. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if your bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the app today. So Matt Patricia, the Secretary of Defense in the Big Ten at Ohio State. We'll discuss. We'll have our players of the week, plus our power rankings. Where does your team rank in our list 1 through 18? But first, this offseason, the Ohio State Buckeyes made a surprise hire when they pegged former Detroit Lions head coach and former Patriots longtime defensive coordinator Matt Patricia to replace the outgoing coordinator Jim Knowles. Knowles, you'll remember, bolted from the Buckeyes before that final piece of confetti came raining down on the Ohio State championship, and he landed on James Franklin's staff at Penn State. And the Nittany Lions then made Knowles the highest paid defensive coordinator in the country to the tune of over $3 million a year. He was regarded as the best in the business. I mean, even Ryan Day, the head coach of the Buckeyes, said that Knowles was the best ever while he was showing him the door. So whoever Day was going to hire to replace him had better be better, right? So this is where you enter rocket scientist Matt Patricia into the equation. He is literally a rocket scientist. He earned a Bachelor of Science degree in Aeronautical Engineering at Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, but instead of matching launch speeds and launch thrusts and gravitational pull, he makes his living shutting down quarterbacks, wide receivers, and running backs. And while he won a couple of Super Bowls with the Tom Brady-led Patriots, I had questions about how he would do as the defensive coordinator at a collegiate level. As a head coach in the NFL, he was a disaster with the Detroit Lions. That locker room turned on him quickly. So naturally, I thought, how is he going to do walking into a living room for a family trying to recruit a kid? You know, how would he be at communicating his complex defensive schemes to 19 and 20-year-olds? Turns out, even though it's early, looks like the returns are in, and it's pretty good. It's pretty impressive. He's taken the best defensive players in the country, like, for example, shortstop strong safety Caleb Downs, linebacker Sonny Styles, and defensive end Caden Curry. And he's putting them in his scheme, which is putting them in the best positions to be successful. By the way, they like him. I think Knowles was a little reserved and kind of a leader from afar. They talk to Matt Patricia all the time. He talks to them. The kids seem to like it. But I remember talking about reports during summer camp right here on Locked On Big Ten that Patricia was moving Caleb Downs into multiple positions instead of just being the best strong safety in America. I was like, what? What are we doing here? But it was to implement an element of surprise and a lack of predictability for the opponent. So he moved him around a little bit. Not every time, but a little bit. Sure enough, week one's going on against the Texas Longhorns. I'm sitting there watching on TV, and there's Downs on the defensive line with his hand in the dirt. The strong safety. I don't know. That's what they're doing. And it worked. They had success with it. And it confused Arch Manning. No longer a Heisman candidate. It is easy. But you can talk about other players. For example, I mentioned Curry just a moment ago versus Washington this past week. He had a career high 11 tackles, 5 tackles for loss, 3 sacks. This is a senior that's finally getting his chance. Ryan Day talked about him, said, look, man, this kid just put in the time, was patient, waited for his chance. Here he is. Let him go. He's doing great. He bought in. He bought in the whole system. Regarding the Texas game to open up the season, Ohio State's offense, it wasn't clicking at the time. It was Julian Sands' first start ever at quarterback. Things look rusty. But Texas's defense was so good that, at least we thought it was understandable. You got a good defense in Texas, and you got a brand new quarterback, brand new offense, at least brand new players on the offense. And it was a little rough at the beginning. Certainly Ohio State won the game 14-7, but it was the Buckeyes defense that held Texas to one late touchdown. Impressive. We were all very impressed. Took down the number one team in the country. And we were impressed, but as a few weeks went by, we started having questions. Maybe we're a little less impressed because Texas was not all that Texas was cracked up to be. And Arch Manning was nowhere near the Heisman candidate that we thought he was. So, all right, we'll take a pause just to kind of wait and see how things go later on the season. Along the way, Ohio State shut out Grambling. They should. It's Grambling. They're Ohio State. They gave up 9 points to Ohio. So, that's what should have happened in those games. So still hard to gauge Ohio State and their defense at that point of the year. Then came last week's game on the road at Washington. The Huskies had been on an offensive tear. Everything was clicking. They were led by quarterback Jamal Williams Jr., who I'm very high on, superstar wide receiver Denzel Boston, also stud running back Jonah Coleman. And the Huskies open up with 38 points versus Colorado State, 70 points versus UC Davis, and 59 points versus rival Washington State in the Apple Cup. Now, I'm not a math major, nor am I a rocket scientist like Matt Patricia. But those three games, Washington averaged 56 points per game. That's the top scoring offense in the country. And then Matt Patricia's defense comes rolling into town, and they don't even give up a touchdown. That's it. Just 2 field goals in the game. Okay, defense is looking pretty good, I think. To date, Patricia's scoring defense is the number one scoring defense in the country. They only give up 5.5 points per game. They have yet to give up more than 9 points in any single game, and they have not allowed a touchdown from the red zone yet this year. Now, the defense is going to turn its attention to the poor Minnesota Golden Gophers on Saturday night this weekend. The Gophers offense has had some troubles. Although quarterback Drake Lindsey, who's a young quarterback, has been starting to come along through 3 touchdown passes in Saturday's win over Rutgers, but he had to because the team's down its top 2 running backs. Darius Taylor has been nursing a bad hammy, and A.J. Turner is out for the season. So they got to throw the ball now all of a sudden. Minnesota's bread and butter is running the ball. They've been forced to throw the ball. And if they're not healthy against Ohio State, then they might be in for a long night against the Buckeyes and Matt Patricia's defense. Side note on that, the Buckeyes game against the Gophers will be the Big Ten Saturday night game of the week on NBC Saturday night, 7:30 kickoff Eastern time. Ohio State fans, of course, have been clamoring for some nighttime games under the lights, national TV. Because of their popularity and because of their success, they've been chosen a lot for Fox's big noon kickoff, a lot of day games there in Columbus. And look, they have a home field advantage anyway, but when it's the excitement under the lights, the fans have been kind of lubing up all day, it is a really big advantage at nighttime, and they haven't been getting a lot of night games. So this is a night game, Saturday, 7:30 Eastern time. Buckeyes, by the way, are 23.5-point favorites in this. We'll make our official picks on this game and all the other games on Friday's show in our Pigskin Picks segment. Speaking of big noon kickoff, the Buckeyes the following week on October 11th, the game against Illinois. That's going to be a big noon kickoff on Fox. Back to noon kickoffs. This weekend coming up, October 4th, we invite you to tune in to us live. We go live on Saturdays after big games every single week. We're going to make it a hard fixed time, kind of time it out a little bit in between the end of, for example, the Michigan State-Nebraska game, although it'll probably be going on. We're going to go live at 7:15 That game's not a kickoff till 4. So probably going to be massaging that a little bit. 7:15 Eastern, 4:15 Pacific. We're going to try and get it done right before kickoff for the Buckeyes primetime game on Saturday night. And while we're live, I get your immediate live real-time comments. You get my unfiltered real-time comments as well right after these games. And it's always a lot of fun. So check us out live on Saturday night with a special edition of Locked On Big Ten. Also, be sure to hit that free subscribe button down below. That way you never miss a single episode. And if you could share, follow, and like Locked On Big Ten, that helps us out a lot as well. Don't forget, we have a website where all of our podcasts go at talkbig10.com. That's the number 10. There's all links for you to buy Ohio State shirts, hats, T-shirts, your favorite school, all that stuff right there. Talkbig10.com. Coming up, we've got the players of the week. We've got some more Big Ten news, and we will have our weekly power rankings. Every team, 1 through 18. We got some separation in the top 3. We'll see where your team is on the list. That's all coming up in a minute right here on Locked On Big Ten. Mazda crafts cars for those who choose to do more than simply move. They follow what moves them every time they drive. And that's what makes Mazda stand out. They go beyond safety and style and performance to deliver a driving experience that feels alive in every single detail. Safety, accents, paint accents, metallic accents, Napa leather, all that stuff. Plus, whether you're just going for a quick drive to the store or maybe a weekend trip, you always feel special behind the wheel of a Mazda. It's the small details that make the big plays for athletes. And just like there's more to every player, there's more to a Mazda vehicle. Mazda, move and be moved. Hey, you know where your money is? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. You can organize it with Monarch Money. Monarch Money helps you out because a lot of people don't know where all their finances are. You get your banking apps, your credit card apps, and maybe some property and 401ks. It's all over the place. Pull it all together with Monarch Money. And you can pull it in from your spouse or significant other as well and just get the big, broad picture financially right there at your fingertips. So you're not leaving opportunities and money on the table. Very easy to use, very easy to get through on the app. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use the code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with the code LOCKEDONCollege. That's monarchmoney.com. Thanks for checking us out here on Locked On Big Ten and making us your first listen each and every day. We appreciate it. Thank you so much. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Also audio only, Apple, Spotify. Don't forget our website, talkbig10.com as well for podcasts and your school merchandise. So before we get into the Big Ten players of the week, which we like to highlight each and every week, I want to talk about Wisconsin and Michigan coming up this weekend. Luke Fickell coming off a bye week, coming off some troubles, and getting ready to take on the Wolverines in a schedule that's just getting more and more brutal and tougher by the weekend for this beleaguered coach. The Badgers' offense is ranked 117th in the country. They're only averaging 5 yards a play. It's going to be a big problem against Michigan's defense. Fickell says that this is a challenge you don't see every day. Well, he is going to see it every day because, again, this schedule for the next 7 weeks is just awful. Very tough. They're going to see this challenge every week. Wisconsin's passing numbers are 126 in the country, 3.1 yards per attempt. That's not good. Meanwhile, Michigan's defense is the 10th best run defense in the country. They allow 77.5 yards per game. The Wolverines are 7th in the nation with 43.5% pass pressure rate. They put the pressure on the quarterback, while the Badgers have allowed 13 sacks this year. You do the math on that. How's that going to work? They've had problems at quarterback. Starting quarterback Billy Edwards Jr. has been hurt. Danny O'Neal has taken over. Michigan, like Wisconsin, is coming off a bye, and head coach Jerome Moore is returning off of his suspension. So I'm going to be interested in watching how Michigan quarterback Bryce Underwood performs now that he seems to be making a few longer passing plays downfield, running the ball more himself, running out of the pocket. Did all this while Jerome Moore was gone. We'll see if he tightens that back up or if he lets the kid continue to flourish. That's the main thing I'm going to be looking at in this game for Michigan against Wisconsin. All right, let's talk about the players of the week this week around the Big Ten. We'll start off with the offensive players of the week. With 18 teams, you got to have You got to have a couple different ones from time to time. We'll start with Luke Altmyer, the quarterback at Illinois. Accounted for 4 touchdowns and 359 yards of offense in their 34-32 win over number 21 USC. He became the first player to have over 300 passing yards, a passing touchdown, a rushing touchdown, and a receiving touchdown in a Big Ten game in the last 30 years. Finished with 328 passing yards, 20 of 26, 28 yards on the ground running. He is the first player to record a rushing, receiving, and passing touchdown in a Big Ten game since 2011 when Vincent Smith did it in the Michigan versus Minnesota game. And he engineered his national leading 6th game-winning drive in the final minute or overtime in the last 3 seasons. Very experienced, very good, and a nice bounce-back win for Illinois. Also, offensive co-player of the year, Dante Moore, or player of the week, I should say. Dante Moore of Oregon. Quarterback had a great game against Penn State as he led them to a thrilling 30-24 double overtime victory over Penn State. And it was the program's 8th win ever against a top 3 opponent, and the first on the road since 2021. He completed 29 of 39 passes, 248 yards, 3 touchdowns, also rushed for 35 yards, threw 2 touchdown passes in overtime, including a 25-yard score in the second OT that turned out to be the game winner. And in 5 games as Oregon's quarterback, he's completed 100 of 134 passes for a 75% passing percentage, completion percentage, 1,200 yards of 14 touchdowns, and just 1 pick. He's been stellar, absolutely stellar. Defensive player of the week, Caden Curry, Ohio State, senior out of Greenwood, Indiana at Center Grove. Recorded personal best with 11 tackles, 9 solo, 5 tackles for loss, 3 quarterback sacks in Ohio State's win over the Huskies. And he limited them to 234 yards of total offense and just 6 points. It tied a school record with his 5 tackles for loss. And that's a mark he shares with the likes of Chase Young, Ryan Shazier, John Simon, and Andy Katzenmoyer. Some good names there from the past at Ohio State. They rank nationally with 8 tackles for loss on the season per game, and 4th nationally with 5 sacks per game. And by the way, he also leads Ohio State in tackles with 25 thus far. Special teams player of the week, David Olano, Illinois, kicked that game-winning kick against USC with no time left, a 41-yarder. Made all 6 kicks, 2 field goals in that mix, 45 and 41, 4 extra points. And it was the 3rd game-winning field goal in Illinois history that was kicked with the Illini trailing as time expired. Boom, got it. And freshman of the week, we just mentioned him a few moments ago. Freshman quarterback at Minnesota, Drake Lindsey, going to have his hands full against the Ohio State Buckeyes defense this week, but last week completed 31 of 41 passes for 324 yards and 3 touchdowns in Minnesota's 31-28 win against Rutgers. Led a 7-play, 72-yard drive over the course of 3 minutes to give them the lead with a 4-yard touchdown pass late. His 31 completions are tied for the 5th most in program history, and his 41 attempts are the 4th most since 1995 without an interception. So, by the way, since 1995, no Minnesota quarterback has completed 31 passes, attempted 41 passes, thrown for 324 yards, and thrown 3 touchdowns against 1995. So it's been, 30 years? Quick math there. Quick women's basketball note for you. USC's all-everything basketball star Juju Watkins, who you remember blew out her knee in the second round of the NCAA tournament last season, announced on social media she indeed will miss the entire upcoming season. There was some hope that she would come back late. She could concentrate on a recovery. That'll give her some extra time, and probably she'll be the best player in the country at that point. So I think this was expected given the timing of her injury last year. We hope that she continues on the road to mending and being the player that she was. All right. We're going to take a look at power rankings. We got all 18 teams, 1 through 18. I'm feeling some separation on the top 3, and then everybody else kind of fighting. Where's your team on this list? That's coming up next right here on Locked On Big Ten. You love watching games like I do because we're fans. Well, you can have more excitement watching games when you get FanDuel involved. That's right. rest of the NFL season. Just lock it in. Right now, new customers can bet $5. And if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. The app is great. You can do point spreads, point totals, player props, futures, game totals. You can parlay stuff. It's great. The app is easy to use and navigate, and you'll find that your payback when you win is pretty quick. It's pretty quick. Get it right back to you. So, are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. Hey, you got a favorite place you need to go in the neighborhood? Favorite store? Favorite coffee shop? Favorite restaurant? Chances are it runs on Square. This episode is brought to you by Square. Your favorite neighborhood spots run on Square. There are certain businesses that just make that neighborhood feel special, whether it's the place that mentions your name when you walk in the door at a sports bar or has your order ready when you walk in the door. When neighborhood businesses thrive, the whole neighborhood thrives. And it's that kind of place where you walk in, everybody knows you, it's comfy, it feels like home, the staff is like family, and they've been serving the community for years. These are the kind of companies you love going to, and they make you feel right at home. Square is a proud partner of more than 4 million neighborhood businesses around the world. You can go to square.com/go Lockdown College to learn more. But before you do, go support your favorite neighborhood spot. You'll be happy you did. Square. See you in the neighborhood. All right, thanks for checking us out here on Locked On Big Ten. And I will tell you that we always have a feature at this time of our podcast every single day. If you're brand new, here's what we do. Mondays, we do our top 10 Big Ten observations from the weekend. I share them with you. Tuesdays, your tweets at X on Tuesday tweets. Put them on the program. We do power rankings on Wednesdays. We're going to do that in a minute. Thursdays, tomorrow, we'll take a look at the Big Ten Network schedule over the weekend. We'll highlight Big Ten classics and also Big Ten live action, find out what games they're carrying over the weekend. Then Friday, we go on the record. We have a lot of fun with our Pigskin Picks segment. All right. We're right more than we're wrong. I'll tell you that. All right. I'm going to put this on screen. If you're audio only on Spotify or Apple, no big deal. It's just, we're going to start ranking. We're going to start out 1 through 10, and we'll have the rest in just a moment, but no change at the top. And why should we? Ohio State, the number 1 team in the country, undefeated, first place at the Big Ten, went out to Washington, got themselves that road win, did not give up a single touchdown, and they've got Minnesota coming up on Saturday night. So they're locked into that number 1 spot right now. Oregon, a strong number 2, pushing Ohio State. I can almost have these guys tied. The defending Big Ten champions have still not lost a Big Ten game last year or this year, undefeated. So Dante Moore was fabulous against Penn State in the double overtime game. That was Dylan Danneman, the transfer from Purdue, got in there, got the game-winning interception off of Drew Aller. And they now have a bye week, and they will take on the Indiana Hoosiers next, the number 9 Indiana Hoosiers. That'll be a great game as well. That is a week from Saturday. Speaking of Indiana, got them locked in at number 3, coming off that 63-10 win over Illinois a week and a half ago. Fernando Mendoza had to guide them through a grinder at Iowa. They got Iowa'd. Iowa made them play Iowa's kind of football. It was ugly grinder, and IU wins 20-15. That game was tied at 13 late. It's just they played into Iowa's hands. That's what they do at Kinnick Stadium. You can't escape it. You can't. So I think we have a little bit of separation now in our top 3 with Ohio State, Oregon, and Indiana. I still have Penn State in there at number 4. I don't feel as confident, but I mean, look, they went double overtime, toe-to-toe with Oregon. I'm not going to drop them off the face of the earth for that loss, even though it was a big loss. Again, Drew Aller, for 3 quarters, he just didn't look good. He's 0-6 against top 6 opponents. We talk about James Franklin can't win the big game. Drew Aller has not won a big game either. So, but I got them still. I still think they're the 4th best team in the Big Ten. Now, I've got Washington. I'm just holding them steady at number 5. Look, they lost to the number 1 team in the country. They didn't look particularly good. I didn't want to move anybody else up above them at this point. I felt like they belong at number 5. Michigan, I did move them up one, even though with the bye week, because I was moving other people down. So they had that win on the road at Nebraska, which is still impressive, the bye week. And now they are getting ready for the Wisconsin Badgers. So they actually move up one. I moved up Illinois 4 spots. They had a big drop, I think 11 spots a week before after that crushing at Indiana. But then this win against ranked USC, I got to move them back up. So Illinois up 4 spots. They're the biggest mover on our poll this week to number 7. And again, I think they showed me something bouncing back from the 63-10 loss to Indiana to come back and beat USC, had a nice lead on them by a couple of scores, gave up the lead. They could have folded their tent like, oh, no, man, it's just bad luck. Here we go. And then they marched on down and got the game-winning field goal. So I got Illinois sitting at number 7. Got USC. I can't have them ahead of Illinois. So USC had to drop 2 spots since Illinois just beat them. So there they are at number 8. And by the way, their defense gave up another 500 yards. I don't like that about USC. They're on a bye. Maybe they can fix that up with Dan Tomlin, the defensive coordinator. Maryland just dropped them 1. They were just because other people moved around them. This is a good team. And they're I just almost misspoke. Maryland, I got them right there at number 9. They beat Wisconsin on the road at 4-0, and then they host Washington. So Washington's got to fly to them across the country. And then I got Nebraska. Nebraska dropped them 1 after a bye, and they still have a problem with ranked opponents. They still have a problem with 1-score games, and they host Michigan State at 4 o'clock on FS1 on Saturday. So there is our top 10 of our weekly power rankings. Let's take a look at the best of the rest. I always say the best of the rest because I don't want to say the worst or who's on the bottom part. We're rooting for all these teams. I got Iowa at number 11. I just dropped them 1 after the loss to Indiana. I thought that was a pretty quality effort by them. By the way, Mark Gronowski got dinged up with the knee there. That could be bad news for the Hawkeyes moving forward. Number 12, got Michigan State. They're coming off a bye. As I mentioned, they got the Nebraska game. That's another measuring stick game. Look, Nebraska had the measuring stick game against Michigan a week and a half ago. This is another measuring stick game. Michigan State, look, they went in. I thought they played pretty tough at USC and lost that game. But I think this is a good measuring stick for both Michigan State and Nebraska this weekend. I've got them at number 12. At number 13, I have Minnesota. I just nudged them up 1 after their win against Rutgers. Drake Lindsey, the freshman, is coming on strong. They got to rely on him now at quarterback because, he hadn't had any running backs. Darius Taylor, he's been out. I did drop Rutgers 1. I basically flipped Minnesota and Rutgers since Minnesota beat Rutgers by 3. Purdue, I got them steady at number 15 after a bye week. They host Illinois. Don't sleep on that game. Last year, they went to Illinois. That thing was overtime. It was 50-49. Maybe, who knows? Who knows what will happen now that this is West Lafayette. Northwestern, I still have. At 17th, they beat UCLA, so I got to keep them above UCLA. They've got Louisiana Monroe out of conference this week, and then the UCLA Bruins have now dropped all 4 games. They've never led this year, and they host Penn State. That's a toughie. But there you have it. Those are our picks here our power rankings for the week. Let me know what you think. Did we get it right? Where's your team on that list? Always let me know. I always love the feedback. There are many ways for you to interact with this podcast. Twitter at Talk Big Ten, our website, talkbig10.com, where all of our podcasts go, and school merchandise is available. If you could hit that subscribe button before you go, that'd be great. And go back and check out a second listen of an episode you missed yesterday. Had a great one on Kurt Signetti in Indiana and another one on Penn State. So we do multiple podcasts every day in addition to our live ones on the weekend. Also want to invite you to check out something else that Locked On is doing for you college football fans. Locked On and Fire TV present the College Football Kickoff, your ultimate college football weekly preview. Drake Toll from Locked On Big 12 is your host. He's alongside 2-time AP Coach of the Year Gary Patterson and former college star Jesse Holley. Plus, we have Locked On experts giving you previews to all the games. It's a college football preview only Locked On can do. Catch the College Football Kickoff every Thursday throughout the season only on Fire TV. That'll do it for another episode here. Thank you for joining us. Spread the word. We're here every day. If you're a Big Ten fan, and I know you are because you're checking us out, I know you know other Big Ten people. Let them know we're out here each and every day. That'll do it for us. For Locked On Big Ten, I'm Craig Sheeman, and I'll see you tomorrow.